back, sisters, to the Hero Whispers podcast with yours truly and Chief Supergirl, Jeannie Marie. Okay, if you thought you heard some good shit previously to this, wait until you see what I have in store for you today. You have no idea. This woman is the queen of copy. Big love and better copy, Lauren Vanessa Zink. But before we get to hear her amazing voice, I just want to give you guys a 4-on-1 for those of you that are new to the show and talk a little bit about Supergirls. We're a platform that was created to inspire and empower college women to launch from college to life, to help them with tools to navigate the real world when they get out of the big college bubble. And what does that mean? It means coaching and mentoring. And we have this podcast to help give them a voice, to help give them some inspiration. We also have workshops on campuses, motivational speaking, and helping them with these tools that they need. So it's really exciting stuff. Supergirls is starting to get a lot of traction. And we're actually launching a group coaching program, live online group coaching program starting in February for all those juniors and seniors who may need a little extra love as they look for a job and internship. We're going to help you with that. It's called How to Find Your Dream Job in 6 Weeks. And just stay tuned for more on that. But for now, we're going to talk to Miss Lauren. Lauren Vanessa Zink helps rebels with big hearts and big shit to do in the world find their voice, nail their messaging, and write incredible sales-making copy. Armed with a BA and red lipstick, she's taken tens of thousands of coaches, consultants, and creatives from who are you to holy cow, where have you been all my life? When she isn't working on a client launch or writing about herself in the third person, you can find her playing at one of San Diego's awesome dog beaches with her fur baby, Sphinx. Lauren, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Sphinx is here. She is probably going to bark in the background, but that is just her saying hello to you guys.
It is totally fine. Sphinx. Hi, Sphinx. I didn't know if Sphinx was a girl or a boy, so I'm so excited to know she's a girl. Yes, I'm so excited about that. We love our girl power.
She's a girl. That's right.
She is. What kind of dog is Sphinx?
Oh my God, she's a magical rescue mix of I have no idea and what a cute face. I don't know. They say that she's part mini pincher, but she's like 40 pounds, so she's a little big to be part mini pincher. I don't know. Yeah, she's a mystery.
I do know that she does give you a lot of your inspiration for your work, so that we all need.
She does. She's even getting her own Instagram column on my social media in the next couple of months.
That is so awesome. Okay.
I like to be weird.
So what you do is you create that connection with people. And that is like, as soon as they go onto your website, it's like you feel like you've known you forever. So
thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, overall, I love your style. I love the way you roll. I love your bold. I want the world to get this. And especially these women, these young college women that are launching, what I teach them to do is to be bold, brave, and boss. So in my opinion, you are an example of this. And listeners, just so you know how I met Lauren, I'm part of a coaching program because even the coach has to get coached. And we all need coaches. And Lauren was a guest speaker in the series, and I was just blown away by her expertise. And it was like some other shit. I was like, wow, I really got my money's worth. And when I heard her talk about copy and messaging and getting to the customer, I was super impressed. I didn't know if she would come onto the call because she has strict rules about her business. So anyway.
I do actually. Yes, I do. I have really hard boundaries about what I say yes to. I have to feel really inspired by it and moved by the mission in order for me to say yes. Like I get inquiries all the time. I've had 4 today and I'm like, nope, not going to do it. But when I got your message, I was like, absolutely. Let's please have some conversations about what happens to girls after you graduate college and how to shape your life, because oh my God, I remember what it was like to be that age. I'm a little bit older now than I was then. But oh my goodness, like I wish something like this had been around back when I was 22.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly why I started it, because I feel like we need each other. We need to help each other, because why be out there alone? I mean, why be out there alone?
Exactly.
So, yeah, let's talk about you. Let's actually focus on the fact that you're such a badass. And how did you get this rebel streak?
I've been a rebel since I was a little girl. Like, I believe that people are born rebels. And I remember, like, running away from home and, like, going to playgrounds and doing all these things by myself, and then coming home later and my parents being like, yo, child, you need to tell us before you go do things like that. But I was like, no, I don't need to do that. So that's always been a big, big part of me. And it really, really, really came out when I graduated college. Like, I will tell you what my journey was like a little bit there. So I graduated at 22. On my spring break, I was interviewing for jobs. I had one lined up. I took my last final exam. I moved to a completely different state where I knew no people for this job, started a job, and suddenly was out in the world all by myself. And oh my goodness, like, I knew nobody else who had done anything like that. So, and then
so scary.
It was scary. It was really terrifying. Yeah, it was. But I'm so glad I did it, because I grew so much from that experience in such a short amount of time. And I never would have done that if I hadn't, like, had the balls to do something really brave and crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you just went for it. I mean, which state did you move to?
I grew up in Wisconsin, so I graduated from University of Wisconsin-Madison. Hello, any Badgers that might be listening. And then I moved to Knoxville, Tennessee. So a totally different vibe, totally different community. All by my lonesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's different than when you go to college. You feel like that for a minute, and then you meet all these friends, and it's like you're there. But then when you move somewhere out of college, it's not the same. It's not like there's people on your floor that you get to know, or people in your classes that are just that you bond with. It's a completely different thing.
Completely different. Well, and I remember, like, trying to meet people in that new community and having to be super brave there and use my voice. A lot of them came from work, right? Like, your friends come from work right after you graduate. But then I also just posted an ad on Craigslist. I don't know if people still do this, but it worked for me, looking for best friends. I was like, listen, I just moved here. I don't know anybody. Please be my friend. And I met some of my best friends that way, and also some creepy people, but we don't need to talk about them.
Well, that's where the boundaries come into place.
That's right.
But you, that also speaks to your voice and the special gift that you have. And so the ad you probably created on Craigslist was probably like no other, So would you say that you were, I like to talk to them about, walking, these girls, walking in your own power, and that's how you should feel, and confident and all that. Like, is that where that started to happen for you too? Or was it later on in life when you had your own business and all that kind of stuff?
Oh my goodness. Well, so how I got that first job, for anybody who is interested in that, it totally relates, I promise, was nepotism. So I had wound up in this job that was great and creative, but was in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I started to realize when I was in that job, this wasn't where I wanted to be, and Knoxville wasn't where I wanted to be. And so I had to use my voice in a way I'd never really used it before, to tell my parents, thank you for getting me this job. I hate it. I can't keep doing this. And I moved. I turned in my 2-week notice, moved to a completely different city with no job, and no backup plan and no savings, and started a brand new life there. And I would say that's one of my biggest, boldest moves that I did, and one of those first times that I really used my voice. And also, I didn't die, and it turned out fine.
No plan, no money, no job, and I was alive. Yes, we love that.
Survived.
You know what though? But how did you like? Is that when did you go out and get another job? And first of all, nepotism, I don't think is bad. I mean, I think
No.
you got to use whatever the universe brings you in terms of networking, and it's okay. Like that's okay. You have to start somewhere.
Yeah. I got very, very lucky. It was in 2007, so it was right before the recession hit. And then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia in 2008. And I just got a new job. I mean, I searched my butt off in Atlanta because I was just so committed to making it work. Like searching for a job was a full-time job when I moved there because I didn't know anybody and had no ins. But as far as actually starting a business, that happened much later. That happened in 2013. But it took me going from job to job in order to realize that I wasn't meant for that 9-to-5 lifestyle. But I didn't know that because everybody, maybe you can relate to this. Everybody that I knew growing up had a 9-to-5 job. Like that was just what you did. You went to college and you got the first job that came your way, and then you worked at that job, and maybe you moved up the ladder, or maybe you changed jobs, and then eventually you retire, and that is what your life looks like. And you have the 2 weeks of vacation, all of that. And I just remember like these moments of sitting at my desk being like, I can't do this. I don't know how people do this for their whole lives.
I can totally relate. And it took me a lot longer. So I'm happy for you that you came to fruition, you came to Jesus, and, for other people that figure that out, like, sooner in their life, or it took me a really long time. I kept on banging my head up against the wall and swimming upstream.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like what you know and what you see. And it's like this hidden thing that's what you're supposed to do, or that's the definition of success. And it's not, it's what the definition of success is what you make it. So I'm happy for you, and I see what you created, and it's just so inspirational. And I just had to have you on the show to talk about what you created. So can we talk about that? Can we talk about how you're welcome? I mean, can we talk about how you created this amazing business that you have, where you have these boundaries and you turn business away, and it's like awesome.
Yeah. So let me tell you about the birth of the business. I like a good origin story, like a superhero. So, like I said, I hopped from job to job for a while, and I was just looking for the next thing. I was like, oh, this job will make me happy. This job will make me happy. This job. And they didn't, obviously. And then I started meeting entrepreneurs in New York City. I moved to New York City. I'd always wanted to move to New York City. I went through the world's toughest breakup and was like, this is the time for me to do this. And so I started meeting and dating entrepreneurs. And I looked at them and looked at how they were making money and looked at how they were doing things. And I was like, you're not special. Like, you're not any smarter or more capable than I am. Like, if you can do this, they just went for it. They were braver than I was in that moment, but they just decided to go for it. And I was like, well, if you can decide to go for it, then I can decide to go for it too. So I made a decision. I had always wanted to live in another country, so I flew over to Korea because I'm a crazy person, and I started teaching English over there. And again, one of those instances where I didn't know anybody, and started a business from my laptop when I was over there, because I made a vow to myself that I was never going to work for anybody else ever again. And so I would teach English from 2 to 10 p.m. So those hours, they would go to school, the kids, and then they would come to this private school and learn English all night. And then I would get home at 10, and I would build my business from 10 at night until like 4 or 5 in the morning. And then I would sleep for a few hours, and then I would do it all again every day. And I did it in like that in Korea for like several months, just working my butt off,